Hey, I'm calling on all Lakers fans to subscribe to the number one Lakers channel. That's right, the Lakers Report. We're so close to 53,000 subscribers as we bring you coverage you can count on covering the Los Angeles Lakers. And as we lead up to the trade deadline, there's sure to be some juicy content. So join the family, the Lakers Report. Help us get to 53K. And let's get it started with another edition of the Lakers Report. Welcome into this edition of the Lakers Report. I'm your host, Jake Riepma. Happy to be with you as always. And it seems like this time of year, we kind of take those progress reports, right? It's almost like, all right, we're gearing up for a little run here. And there's been some good, some bad. And that trade deadline is coming up quickly. And the Lakers are 19-19, currently 9th in the Western Conference. And long shots to win an NBA title. But then again, who isn't at this point? I don't think there's been a clear, definitive favorite that has emerged yet. But the Lakers certainly, if you ask most, are not where this fan base and really this entire organization expected to be. So as we turn the calendar into 2024 and move into January, like I mentioned, that trade deadline is in February is looming large, and it's getting closer and closer day by day. And that's pointing out the obviously. That's obvious. That's how a calendar works there, Riepma. But Thursday, February 8th, 2024, circle it on your calendar. Less than a month away is the NBA trade deadline. So I thought it would be appropriate to take a look at the Lakers' biggest needs leading up to the NBA trade deadline. So buckle up, dial it in as we discuss the Lakers' biggest needs ahead of the NBA trade deadline, starting with shooting. And I probably, you could accuse me of picking the most obvious first because that's what I did. I think this Lakers team needs shooting and they need help on the perimeter in every sense of the word. And that is really what has limited this Lakers team from reaching their full potential. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, those guys can get downhill with the best of them, arguably better than anybody in the National Basketball Association, but they have nobody to kick it to. And the Lakers' three-point shooting woes on the screen in front of you are not sound the alarm horrible or horrific or setting any kind of NBA records for being terrible, but they're not where a championship level team should be from beyond the arc. They are tied for 29th with 10.8 three-pointers made per game, and that's a number you'd like to see go up. Three-point shooting efficiency, 35.5%. That's good enough for 25th, so also in the bottom third of the NBA. And just the overall offensive efficiency ranks in the bottom third as well at 23rd. And when I say those names out loud, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, you'd certainly expect the Lakers to be able to compile a more efficient offense than what we've seen on the floor through the first several months of the season. And let's talk about LeBron James for a second here, because obviously, I don't have to tell anybody, we all know he's as good as it gets, and even at 39 years old, still getting it done with the best of them. But throughout the course of his career, he really has not established himself as a three-point marksman. Yes, he has had some seasons where he's been among the elite in that category, but when you take every component of LeBron James' offensive arsenal, the three-point shooting is on the list, but it's not at the top. And with the current roster makeup, it's almost as if LeBron has been forced into a role of being the team's most prolific three-point shooter. And that's just not the strength of what he can bring to the table. But yet he still leads this team with 2.2 made three-pointers per game. And that's not even that big of a number. So again, the three-point shooting woes for the Los Angeles Lakers is part of what's holding this team back. So let me know in the comments how you're feeling with this one. I want to know your concern level with the Lakers' inability to shoot from the long line. Scale it for me in the comments, 1 through 10. And I'm very, very concerned on this one because, in my humble opinion, and I'm not an expert on the X's and O's by any means, but in today's NBA, you have to be able to score at all three levels, and the teams that can separate themselves with the three-point shooting ability, often that yields to success, and the Lakers just haven't seen that yet this season. They got to be able to shoot the ball from deep better, and they have not shown the ability to do that, as we showed you those rankings all near the bottom of the NBA in terms of three-point shooting. Coming up next, we've got more needs for the purple and gold. We're just getting started on this edition of the Lakers Report. But right now, I want to give a huge shout out to today's presenting sponsor and a sincere thank you for helping make Lakers Today possible. The Lakers Report, making it possible. And as I mentioned, Factors, America's #1 meal delivery service. And as we turn the calendar into 2024, everybody's talking about their New Year's resolutions. They're putting them on Instagram, on Twitter, you name it. But I want to tell you about making choices that lead to success, specifically with your diet. And there's lots of obstacles to do so, and Factor Meals helps you overcome some of those obstacles with ready-to-eat meal deliveries that take the stress out of meal planning. It takes the stress out of meal prepping, doing the dishes, and most importantly, it sets you up for success in the new year. And I've got several favorites because the meals are delicious, like that honey mustard chicken. Although I will say the Chipotle pork chop, you guys have heard me talk about that one before. That one's the one you got to put on your list. So forget the frantic lunch preps, the dinner preps, rush dinners. No. Factor's meals take just 2 minutes to heat up. They're delivered straight to your door, and the cleanup is also a breeze. You just throw it away. That is probably the nicest part because I hate doing the dishes. And Factor has everything you need for a flavorful, nutritious new year. In addition to ready-to-eat meals, they have cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, veggie sides, and more to help keep you energized in the new year. So head to factormeals.com/NBAchat50 and use code NBAchat50 to get 50% off. That's code NBAchat50 at factormeals.com/NBAchat50 to get 50% off. And what do I always tell you? We love you and we care about you, so we'll put that link right in the comments as well as the description of today's video. And all you got to do is go to factormeals.com/NBAchat50 and use code NBAchat50 to get 50% off. Now, we've been discussing the Lakers' needs before the trade deadline. We talked about three-point shooting, and that is, of course, on the list for some significant needs that the Lakers have. But part of that is defining and maybe even just finding a third scoring option because LeBron, AD, they've obviously shown the ability to score, but when you look at the Lakers' third scoring options, the production just has not been there. And whether you want to point towards D'Angelo Russell or even Austin Reaves, in some senses, I wouldn't say those two have disappointed, but they also haven't really developed into a prolific third scorer yet. And the numbers are right there, just 15.1 points per game for Reaves and 14.6 for Russell. And I know there's different roles that these two individuals play aside from scoring, but again, finding and establishing a third scorer in this locker room is part of the needs for the Lakers moving forward to the trade deadline. Also, from behind the arc, neither one of them have really demonstrated the ability to be marksmen from the three-point line, which, as we talked about from our first point, kind of fills in the need that the Lakers have. So, again, Austin Reaves, D'Angelo Russell, neither player has really emerged as a viable third scoring option for this Lakers team. So I think you circle that as one of the major needs for this Lakers team heading into the trade deadline, a viable third scoring option. But as I always do, I want to know and I want to hear from you. Do the Lakers need to add a prominent third scoring option? It's real simple, type Y for yes or N for no. And I think you know by now, I certainly think they do, and time is running out to do so with the trade deadline looming. And last but certainly not least, I think this Lakers team is lacking a sense of continuity, of chemistry. We've talked about how players have shown signs of frustration with the changing rotations, the changing starting lineups. And again, Darvin Ham is in a tough spot because a lot of times injuries have played a role in this. And whether having to choose between better offensive players or better defensive players on the wing and the perimeter. That's also factored into the reason Darvin Ham has had 10 different starting lineups so far this season, and that plug and play mentality is kind of in the front of the coach's mind because he's trying to find the best five and the best starting rotation and ultimately the best collection of guys that can help this team win. So now we can get creative. Let me know in the comments, what's the Lakers' biggest need? I told you what the 3 biggest needs, in my opinion, are, but I want to hear from you. Hold nothing back. Let me know in the comments what this Laker team needs to do before the trade deadline to address their biggest need. Now, we saw some bright spots from Christian Wood in the last game against the Raptors. He played pretty well with the 14 points and 9 rebounds. So as I start to scratch my head and look at the crystal ball a little bit, maybe that's a guy that can emerge as a third scoring option and a good perimeter defender and a guy that will help this Lakers team. But he's shown a lot of inconsistency throughout his time with the Lakers, and although it's been better recently, he's even struggled to get minutes with Darvin Ham, kind of fallen in and out of favor with the head coach, and that's no surprise because Christian Wood has been a guy that's been a journeyman in the NBA. He's bounced from team to team to team, and it seems like he wears out his welcome rather quickly and has a lot of personality, sure, but you could also chalk that up to maybe some potential character concerns. And LeBron James was talking after the game, after the win over the Raptors, and had this to say about Christian Wood. He does a good job of rebounding for us, but I just think it's a rhythm thing for our team, referring to finding that continuity. But if you ask C. Wood is all about a bucket. And to be fair to LeBron, he was, having a joking tone saying, C. Wood just cares about getting buckets. But sometimes Christian Wood has shown that he's more about himself than the team. There are some concerns. In this instance, to be fair to LeBron, you don't want to take him out of context. He was absolutely joking. But that being said, we'll keep our eye on whether or not Christian Wood can emerge as a significant role player for this Lakers team. I want to thank everybody for tuning into this edition of the Lakers Report. And as we remind you at the beginning of the video, we'd love for you to join us during the NBA season and for the entire season for that matter. Join the channel if you bleed purple and gold. Subscribe today. Help us reach our goal of 53,000 subscribers. Shout out to producer Jake Chipper on the ones and twos, helping us bring you all the Lakers content. And until next time, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. Go Lakers, and we'll see you next time on the Lakers Report.